the difficulty is, this was an unauthorized balloon launch, and I know I'm interfering with federal airspace, and I'm sure my ground crew has alerted the proper authority. The balloons are beige in color and in a bright blue sky. They should be very highly visible. Over. Color and size? Size approximately 7 feet in diameter each, and I probably have about 35 left. Over.
You're saying you have a cluster of 35 balloons?
These are 35 weather balloons. Not one single balloon, sir. It is 35 weather balloons.
On July 2nd, 1982, at the age of 33, Lawrence Richard Walters decided to fulfill his dream he had had since he was 13. He attached 43 weather balloons to a lawn chair and flew more than 16,000 feet above the Californian city of San Pedro. This is the story of the man who became known as Lawn Chair Larry.
This is a phenomenal thing. Where did you get the idea to do this? When did it hit you? You said it was a 20-year dream?
Yes, sir. It hit me when I was a young boy, about 13 years old. I was in an Army-Navy surplus store. Saw a weather balloon dangling from the ceiling. And I just got the idea to inflate these balloons. And I figured if I had enough of them, it'd lift me. The idea was just, to float.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by it, and I fulfilled the 20-year dream.
In preparation of his flight, Larry and his girlfriend bought approximately 45 weather balloons around 7 feet in length each, as well as several tanks of helium. The company which they were purchased from, California Toy Time Balloons, was suspicious of this large order of helium and balloons. Larry had prepared for their suspicion and forged a document written by his employer, Filmfare Studios, claiming that he was going to use the balloons in a TV commercial. Finally, on the 2nd of July, 1982, Larry had attached his balloons to a Sears lawn chair, which he dubbed the Inspiration 1, and attached it to his truck with 2 guy wires. He took with him a parachute, a camera, an altimeter, a BB pistol, a few sandwiches, a drink, and a CB radio for communication. He also attached several jugs of water to the lawn chair to weigh it down, so that if he needed to descend, he could empty them to lighten the load. His ground crew, consisting of his girlfriend Carol Van Dusen and his friend Ron Richland, despite assisting him with the labor and finances, begged him not to do it. Larry did not listen. Their plan was to cut the first guy wire and allow Larry to float just above Carol's house for an hour, and to notify local airports and police of his ascent 30 minutes before launch. That plan was cut short when one of the guy wires suddenly snapped and Larry shot upwards at tremendous speed. So quickly, in fact, that his glasses fell from his face.
Okay, evidently I lost my glasses.
Ron, Larry, cut him down! You gotta come down if you can't see! Cut him down!
I've got my other glasses. I can see perfectly, don't worry.
Larry never intended to go as high as he did. 8,000 feet is where most people experience altitude sickness, and Larry was double that in mere minutes. He was so high, in fact, that he was spotted by commercial airliners. Larry became frightened as he looked at his altimeter and saw that he was 16,000 feet in the air. He knew that if he went any higher, he could die. At 16,000 feet, the temperature would have been roughly 2 degrees Fahrenheit, and Larry was getting sunburns due to his incredible altitude. In order to slow his ascent, he began shooting some of the balloons with his BB pistol, and ended up with about 35 left. He then dropped the BB pistol overboard by accident, but it turned out that he had popped just enough to begin his descent.
And you just shot the balloons out and that caused you to come down?
Well, it was carefully. I shot the outer balloons out first. I knew what I was doing.
They cut off electricity through the whole city so that Larry would not get snared on power cords and killed.
I saw were rooftops and power lines. I thought to myself, my God, this is it. Please God, don't let me get fried.
After his 45-minute flight, he landed in power lines in Long Beach, California, 10 miles from where he started, and ended up perfectly safe. The locals in the neighborhood gathered in awe around the man who had floated 3 miles in the air in a lawn chair. Walters autographed some balloons and gave them to some children, and gifted his lawn chair to a child, later regretting it when the Smithsonian asked for him to donate his chair. The police were there waiting for him. When asked why he did it, he said, "A man can't just sit around." He was arrested, but was soon released from police custody. Officials prosecuting him had to say, "We know he broke some part of the Federal Aviation Act, and as soon as we decide which part it is, some type of charge will be filed. If he had a pilot's license, we'd suspend that, but he doesn't." Larry was charged with a $4,000 fine. he was able to repeal and only be fined $1,500. After all was said and done, Larry became something of a celebrity. He appeared on the David Letterman Show and was featured in advertisement. Larry was referenced in an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh boy, a birthday party!
No, Patrick. This is the SquarePants Flyer Mark III. All you do is remove the brick, or ballast, and... Huh? Well, back to the drawing board.
Some theorize that the Pixar film Up was also partially inspired by the acts of Walters.
So long, boys!
On October 6, 1993, when he was 44, Larry Walters took his own life. Larry's legacy still lives in the hearts of many. His dedication to fulfill his dream is something that many people respect and admire. In the early 2000s, the boy who Larry had gifted his lawn chair to came out of the woodworks, and it was loaned to the San Diego Air and Space Museum. Larry even inspired a handful of other people to fly in lawn chair crafts of their own. Larry was an inspirational figure to many, and his life was most certainly not lived in vain.